Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Modern Horizons 3. Without further ado, let's get into the pack 1 pick 1 here. We have some really efficient removal with Galvanic Discharge. It's also one of the most open picks in the pack, so we can take that for efficient removal. Fanged Flames, which is a little bit worse, since it is sorcery speed and only 1 more damage for 1 more mana. I like the Discharge better than that if we're taking efficient removal. There's a Johnny Fells the Godsire, though, for a 2-for-1 removal spell for late game, which can be really nice, and the Gigantic Territory Color. So I think these three are the best options, the Johnny, Color, and Discharge, but I'm just going to take the flexible instant speed removal. Pick 2, while this is pretty easy, we can just follow up with a second Galvanic Discharge. Ghost Fire Slice is pretty nice as well. However, if you are just targeting a creature with this is 2 more mana most of the time for just 1 more damage. And if you're a dedicated energy deck, then the Discharge can do just as much damage anyway. This does give you added flexibility for its additional mana cost, but I think the Discharge in a vacuum is better. So when you're super early in the draft, I'd rather just take a second Discharge here. Now for pick 3, we have Area Auxiliary, which is a great card for any aggressive deck, a good evasive threat that also buffs the rest of your board a little bit. So Auxiliary towards red-white energy looks like a solid spot to be here. And here we are now for pick 4. We see Conduit Goblin and Glimpse and Area Auxiliary for this deck. All seem like pretty great options. I'm gonna go for the Auxiliary here, maybe. This card has just really impressed as the format has progressed. Curving into this thing is completely disgusting. I could see maybe an argument for Conduit Goblin here with double Galvanic Discharge, so the energy cross synergies there are pretty big. And you can't load your deck with too many 4-drops, but you can have a lot of 2s. Yeah. Actually, for the 2-drop over 4-drop argument, I'll go for the Conduit Goblin there. Now we've got the Reckless Pyro Surfer to Battlecry buff our whole board with swings, or the Hex Gold Slith for more energy synergy. Both of these look excellent for this kind of deck. I think I might want to go Pyro Surfer here. Haste in for immediate damage, but energy cross synergy is so huge. Just randomly leaving energy behind is kind of a big deal. Yeah, I'm actually going to go Slith here. I think I'm pretty committed to Boros already, where having that leftover energy can be very good. Pick 6, Proud Pack Rhino, don't mind if I do. Just a 3 mana 3/3 the shield counter is already pretty annoying, but you can put that shield counter wherever you need it, or if you draw this after you've played an Area Auxiliary or something like that, proliferate all your +1/+1 counters. Now we got some flexible removal with Thraben Charm. We've got Glimpse the Impossible for late game card draw. This could also give us a wide board early. If we do manage to get some of those Battlecry style cards, or we have like the Jolted Awake as a fun little synergy piece, picking up a good 2-drop creature. I think we go Glimpse the Impossible. Phyrexian Ironworks is pretty slow, but it's a good value engine over time. We wield the Ajani Fells the Godsire. This is a very solid way to get a big blocker out of the way. Getting a creature and some double strike out of it at the same time. Could try to go full 3-color here, but don't really recommend doing too much more than splashing for the most part, even though this set does have some pretty good fixing. Pick 10, Inventor's Axe is a fine little synergistic combat trick. It's pretty replacement level, pretty filler, but it fits fine when you care about energy. If you don't care about energy, then you pretty much never play it. Here's another replacement level trick. You know, I'll actually take Demon Fury over that, because this is blue's kind of best common interaction. Get another Glimpse the Impossible. Wide State of Spawns or some card draw later. And Attune the Narrative for some more blue energy. Alright, well, pack 2, pick 1, we open up the best rare in the format, and it's also really good for Boros energy. This is the best deck for this card. Blue-white energy, it's slightly awkward because you already have a ton of flyers, but here we have tons of good creatures on the ground already that we can send into the sky with this ability. This thing is busted. and it's going to be incredible in this deck. Now we can get another Galvanic Discharge and just have really efficient ways to clear a path for everybody. A little sad to pass up on Carbomination, another one of the best rares in the format, but that is quite far away from our aggressive Boros build. So here we have Static Prison, which is fine temporary removal against pretty much any deck if you have leftover energy around, which we should have. So that's the most flexible card, but Ralin the Implicit Maze against the right deck, against an Eldrazi spawn kind of deck. It's kind of similar to a Johnny Fells the Godsire, where it's a huge 2-for-1 removal play. It's going to clear out all their spawns, and then it's also going to like draw us a card and get us a creature. I still haven't played this yet. I've played the Prison a few times. Let's try out the Ral thing. Looks like pretty great top end. Pinnacle Monk is a fine value play, but we already have 2 really good 5-drop value plays, so I think I'd rather just have the Gatekeeper here, ping for some extra damage as we're playing our creatures. When we have 2 copies of Glimpse, that could be big damage right there. Now we can take the on-color dual land that sometimes just cycles for a little double strike swing. Pick 6, there's a Dog Umber to clear a path since we're a pretty aggressive deck. Pick 7, nothing much here. Sundering Eruption over a mountain would be a fine pick. Shut off all the non-flying blockers for a turn to beat an Eldrazi spawn deck as well. I think these are mediocre and situational enough as spells that we're just going to cut lands 1 for 1 on these ones. Pick 8 will take a Solstice Zealots. We need some more creatures right now for sure, and this is a great one for locking down your opponent's biggest attackers or blockers. Razorgrass Ambush, Ironworks, Jolted Awake all look fine. I mean, with triple discharge, we're always going to cut this ambush thing though, right? Maybe we're low enough on creatures to want to try out the Ironworks. Second to Johnny Fells the Godsire, alright. Pretty high curve for Boros, but whatever. Here's another creature, the Inspired Inventor. To add to that, now we're really just looking for a bunch of 2-drop creatures that come with 2 energy, and we'll be happy with the deck once we get those. Jolted Awake's fine filler if we get enough cheap creatures to reanimate with it, so we're really looking for 2-drop energy producing creatures over almost anything. Sadly, no 2-drop energy producing creatures here. We actually have a good stack of 3s, so we'll take the 4-drop Area Auxiliary for buffing the board quite a bit over the Solstice Zealot. If there was a Conduit Goblin there, I'd slam that over the Auxiliary, or even a Hexgold Slith, even though the Auxiliary is certainly better on average. We just need 2 mana creatures right now. So we want to probably be a 25 non-land card deck here. So we can start cutting after we take the next card, because we can run these 2 as lands 16 and 17 when we need them, and we're aggressive enough that we don't always want to be playing like a 17 land deck. Unfortunately, no other 2-drop creatures here. There's another Phyrexian Ironworks, I guess. Really try to get that to go. It's really that or a filler combat trick. This muster thing. I'm going to take another Ironworks. But these will probably be some of our first cuts if we find better stuff to throw in. Alright, well there we go. That's a much better thing to throw in. We were looking for 2 mana creatures that give us 2 energy. Well, there's one right there. Also got a very powerful effect because you exile the cards no matter what. But you don't have to pay your energy to cast the spell if it's not good or if it's too expensive or something. Then you just got a 2 mana 2/1 first strike and 2 energy, which is still good for a dedicated energy deck, especially when you can curve into it out of a Guide of Souls. Then turn 2, you have 3 energy to immediately send the guide into the sky and go crazy. Very happy with Amped Raptor for this deck. And Fanged Flames is good, but we need more creatures, and 2-drop creatures are perfect. We take a Metastatic Evangel here so that every time we play a non-token creature, we can get another energy, and if we're lucky, late game alongside these auxiliaries, that can even give us a lot of +1/+1 counters. Pick 5. None of the cheap creatures here. Again, we're on triple discharge, Umbra, Thraben Charm removal. Plus double Ajani Fells the Godsire, plus Ral to clear the board later. This stops all blocks. I don't think we need more removal. We can take another Glimpse or a Legion Leadership over the Thraben Charm. I'll go for the Leadership here. Multiple Boros duels in the deck now. Okay, another Proud Pack Rhino looks perfectly good. I actually do really like Savine's Reclamation as well, but in order for this to actually play really consistently, you do want to have a few landscapes in your decks. You know you always have something engraved for this. When you draw this and nothing's died, it does literally nothing and it's quite bad. But if you have landscapes, at least you always know you can get a land off of it. So I think I'm just going to take the more consistent Rhino here. But I have played Reclamation before, and it was pretty good. I don't think it would be terrible here. I just think Rhino is going to be more consistent and the better card. We'll take an Ember Mage. That could randomly finish somebody off. Although I think I've already got enough high mana value stuff. I'm probably not playing it, but I'm probably not playing anything in that pack. Okay, I can take a Perilous Landscape here. Although I don't know if we run it here with double Legion Leadership for Boros lands. Rather just have all on-color stuff, no colorless tappers, no less tap lands in the deck in general. Top 5 for historic cards, so artifacts and legends. 2 artifacts. There's 3 sagas though, so there's 5 historic cards. I'll run this over a Plains. Yeah, who knows? It could be cool. We'll see how it plays out. I don't really want double axe, although that would put another artifact in the deck for the Monumental Henge. But I actually already have combat tricks in the deck that don't even cost a non-land slot because we can run them as our lands. Bunch of glimpses. We can really test that card out today. All right. We can cut 4 cards out of here. And we have 1, 2, 3 spell lands. Cut 2 lands for sure, but I might even just cut fully. Cut lands 1 for 1 here and go really low on the land count. Now we've got some really good 5 drops, so being at 18 lands max, 15 minimum feels a little better than 17 lands max with these 3 great 5 mana plays. Jolted Awake doesn't look great in here. The amount of 2 mana less creatures in the deck is not super high. And there's also not a ton of leftover energy to get bigger stuff back with this. I'll ditch that. Inventor's Axe is also a little hard to justify a slot, seeing as 2 of our lands are already just big combat tricks. So we'll drop that. Triple Glimpse the Impossible is probably a bit much. I can still try the card out here, running just like 2 copies. So we'll drop 1 of those. And last but not least, we'll drop 1 random creature. I guess 1 like Inspired Inventor here is probably the most filler. And we will call it a deck there. Check out the mana base. 16 white sources, 12 red. This is 8 white, 8 red. Or sorry, 16 white cards, 12 red. We're on an 8-8 split with 2 of either. We want to be slightly more skewed white than that, I think. Although, there's no double white till turn 5. I don't mind the even split here to make the Galvanic Discharges as consistent as possible as our best 1-drops. Well, Guide of Souls is a little better, but as 3 really important 1-mana red spells to have access to, I'm just going to go for the 50-50 even split in the mana base and hop into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game 1 with a hand that looks like it's a completely different deck. I don't know what Arena's on about with this one, but that's a mulligan. And this is just as bad. All right. 50-50 split on our two main colors is not working out that way for us. This is a little better because I guess we have more to do early if we find the white source, but if we don't, we're still not doing anything. I guess a turn 4 Glimpse the Impossible searching for white sources, but Arena is angry at me for the start of this draft, it looks like. Let's ditch the 5-drop probably, because we need to hit 2 white sources to even think about casting that. There's 1 white source. Unfortunately, it comes into play tapped, so we don't get to Conduit Goblin here. Playing against black-white. And they're just going to grab a 2-2 off the Grave Dig. Ooh, drawing a Johnny Fells the Godsire anyway. Well, here's our Proud Pack Rhino. Muster the Departed. So if one of their permanents dies, they get to make another token in their end step. I guess if any creature dies, it doesn't even have to be theirs. So I kind of want to glimpse and find a Plains here towards a Johnny Fells the Godsire. Obviously, they don't have any targets for it right now, but I really don't want to attack into this board just to lose a shield counter. And Conduit Goblin just really doesn't attack in well against the 2 stuff. So yeah, Glimpse looks good to me. Don't play our land yet in case we hit a Plains. There is a Plains. Goodbye, both of our auxiliaries. What are the odds? They're actually incredibly low. Gross. Perfect removal for the shield counter. The -3/-3 to just get right around it. And that triggers the Morbid for them to make another 2-2 here. And they have no creatures big enough for a Johnny Fells the Godsire. Now we just have a Conduit Goblin and pass. Or I can use Monumental Henge. Hope that we can find our Ral Saga. I feel like Conduit Goblin is bad enough here to just try to spin the wheel and find the Ral Saga, because that would wipe their whole board and stop this muster nonsense. Whereas the Conduit Goblin is going to trade into 1/2/2 that they just immediately replace with muster anyway. By a tiny bit of time. I mean, chumping 2 damage feels so bad, but what else am I really doing? Counter onto the Obstinate Gargoyle so it no longer persists. That's fine with me. Also big enough to exile with a Johnny if I don't find the Ral thing. We did not find the Ral thing, so we'll probably exile the Gargoyle. Oh, right. I'm dumb. Morbid is for any player, so I just shouldn't chump. Yeah, this is actually just super, super bad that I can't even chump without just giving them more creatures. Entirely the Ral Saga or bust. Basically last chance here. That is not the Ral Saga. I can activate the Monumental Henge and still have the mana up to Galvanic Discharge something. I go block, block, discharge, take 4. Go to 2 life. And if the Ral thing's in the top 6, we can still try to stage a comeback here. Okay, that also dies to the Ral Saga. However, it probably finds something that lethals me since they get to tutor for anything 2 or less. They just find a removal spell, and we take 6 even with our Galvanic Discharge. Wing it. That works too. Because I'm dead on board, I have to try to cast a Galvanic Discharge and they respond by doing their +2/+2 trick, and then I still die. Unless for some reason they cast it when they're already presenting lethal, which would be a horrific misplay, so I highly doubt they're going to do that. You're so rude, Arena. You are immensely rude. Here we are for game 2, starting off again with just immensely awkward hands. This is wild. Take the mulligan here. There we go. Start off with a Guide of Souls on this one. Guide of Souls into the Glimpse the Impossible is gonna give me the energy to send in the Guide in the Sky. They don't kill it here. Well, there is the kill. We could have waited to play it till turn 2, so they'd have one less turn to have the removal for it, but if I played it on turn 2, they would have just bolted it turn 3 anyway. Drop Gatekeeper here. And I couldn't have waited till turn 4. I mean, I guess I could, because I could play it turn 4 and then Glimpse right after. But then my whole board is summoning 6, so I don't get the attack trigger off of the energy, and they kill it before I do, regardless. Just Conduit Goblin here. They're stuck on 2 mana. I kind of think I'm just on like Conduit Goblin here. But we'll get our Gatekeeper damage. Cash in the 3. There's land 3 for our opponent, so 5 spells in their hand. Soul Trader for a great sacrifice card. It's Glimpse. Five-drop land. Sick. Glimpse draws were had. So we have no attacks. Until we get the spawn tokens, then I can Thraben Charm the 3/3. Auxiliary holding up Dog Umbra seems decent. Good on that. Now we have an Eldrazi spawn that can trade into the Marauder when they crack back. Looks pretty great. But they still have all spells in hand. So just the 3/3 gets in, the spawn's holding back the Marauder. Refurbish Familiar. Egregious. At least it cost 4 mana. Jump, sack for treasure. Seven life to 8 life. Nightblade. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. That is horrendous for us when they have the Soul Trader on board to turn anything into a treasure. They're untapped treasures too, right? Yeah, they don't even make tapped treasure tokens with the Soul Trader. That is terrifying. Basically, if we don't hit something pretty good here, we're just gonna die if we pass back to them, I'm pretty sure. Auxiliary is pretty good. We can haste this one out with Conduit Goblin's Final Energy. Spread the power toughness across the board. They can Soul Trader. So they gain 1 off of this treasure. They're at 9, essentially. And then any other Soul Trader stuff they're doing, they're paying a life and then gaining it back. So that doesn't actually gain them more life. So they're at 9. If I can deal 9, they're dead. So I can haste Auxiliary. They can't block it. They can't block that one. They Nightblade block the Conduit Goblin, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If they don't have instant speed removal. And if they do, we're pretty dead no matter what, I think. Let's see what they've got. This feels more likely to get there than letting them untap with the Soul Trader Nightblade combo. That just feels like a death sentence. They have drain 4 life minimum with that combo. They just have to find a way to deal 3 to kill us if we pass turn to them. One glimpse would probably do it. All right. They have no way to stop that damage, and we are going to be 1-1 heading into game 3. Here we are for game 3 against Nate. Number 2 Mythic. So some fierce competition here. And luckily we draw into a solid curve to compete. Red-green. There's the Nightshade Dryad. I would like to discharge that, I think, to keep Nate off of bigger spells here. Means not playing Inventor this turn, but it's fine. keep Nate off of the turn 3 Chrysalis. There's Flare of Cultivation for some ramp here. Okay. Faced out the Inspired Inventor. I think I just go for maximum damage by putting a +1/+1 counter onto this, so all of the haste is on there for the extra damage. Nate's down to 12. If Nate casts just one big creature to stabilize, we can fell the Godsire. If it's Chrysalis, we cry, because that's 3 blockers. Fair and Balanced Magic has striked. The best combat ever printed on Arena is here. Oh, I have to run Inventor into it to get them to sack a spawn to make it big enough for a Johnny Fells the Godsire to kill it, or I just glimpse and pass. I think we're just on glimpse and pass. Yikes. Goodbye, Airy Auxiliary. Actually, that's not a huge yikes. I can Umber the Chrysalis still, and then they just got the mana out of it. Yeah, that's not the worst. That's not the worst. That deals with Chrysalis. They just have trumps now. I don't think I spend an energy here, because they're already somewhat likely to block this 3/3. Like, if they're trumping anything, they're blocking the 3/3. Or killing it. That works too. Malevolent Rumble. Nightshade Dryads. Or lands, so a bunch of mana. The Dryads having Death Touch is very relevant, though. Any Dryad they take is just going to clear my Conduit Goblin off the board, and we're just out of gas here, flooding a little bit. They take the land, though, so they did not have a land for turn in their hand. It's 4 more spells in there. We're just going to get, like, Emrakuld or something. If they're still looking for mana. Well, that card's great. I'd love to cast that card. Imagine if we could have cast it in our 1 loss. Ooh, sick draws. Wow. Very disappointing draws. Another Malevolent Rumble. Oh boy. They found the Titan's Vanguard and the Chrysalis. So they slap me for 3, but I can fell this Vanguard. There's the Trample Hasty Void Pouncer that we can exile with our other Johnny Fells the Godsire. Oozewag I could get rid of instead, since that's essentially a 6/6 Trample, plus Discharge can kill the Void Pouncer. Well, that's disgusting. I could discharge that, but that's only if I take 1,000,000 right now. Like, I have to just kill this Void Pouncer to not be at lethal no matter what next turn. Now we could top deck something. That's nothing. Right, I think this is the best hand we have drawn so far. So pretty excited for how this game could go. We'll see. I don't have the 2-drop to go with the guide, but it happens. Only got 4 2-drops in the deck. And we did not draw one. I guess I could have spent Discharge just to make this bigger. Be slightly harder to kill. Send him for 3 there. No, they show me the mountain. That is where higher toughness could matter a lot. Luckily, they don't have the 2-mana or less removal for it, so we'll just have Inspired Inventor give us the energy to buff the guide. The Glimpse the Impossible doesn't give us the energy until our end step, so we won't get to buff the guide off that one. But this one gives us the energy immediately. Boom, poke for 3. Cyclops Superconductor, that is A-OK. No land, sadly. Glimpse towards it, really hoping to hit a red source so I can glimpse and discharge. Yeah, I think we're going to have to glimpse. We did hit the red source, that is 6. So I could discharge. Problem is if I do that, they pay the 3 energy and kill Inventor anyway. So I think I just offer the trade, because if Superconductor ever dies, they can just spend 3 energy and kill it anyway. Dog Umber the Guide of Souls, well, it retains its ability, so we turn an Eldrazi spawn into a 2/3 flyer off of it still. Gonna be one of the world's saddest Dog Umbras. Drop an Area Auxiliary and still have a Galvanic Discharge up. Go, friends, go. Get in there, spawn.
Boom, 4 damage off of the Eldrazi spawn. Voltstorm Angel, sure, I can kill that with Galvanic Discharge and they're dead, right? Not quite. They take 7. Need to deal 2 more damage. This doesn't deal damage to their face, so they go to 2, but they're not dead. I guess I missed lethal here because we could have Dog Umbred and then we could have Galvanic Discharged just for the energy, but like don't spend any of it. That way we use the energy to get 2 extra power onto the board. Yeah, we should have just Dog Umbred during our turn. And done the discharge just for extra energy. Without any creatures on their board, should I cast this? I feel like probably, just to get closer to chapter 2 and 3, because I'm not going to do anything with Dog Umbra. Well, that's not true. Dog Umbra could be flexible here, where if they try to kill one of my creatures, I can Dog Umbra it. Like if they have a board wipe, like a Wrath, Dog Umbra could still win this game. And if they play like a really good blocker, I can Dog Umbra that at instant speed. Yeah, it's probably better to just leave the Dog Umbra up. And it doesn't look like it mattered. It seems like they probably just fully left the game at this point, which will let us be 2-2. All right, here we are on the play. For game number 5, this will be the deciding factor between if we can get an average run or not. We're at 2-2 right now. We need to win to get to 3-2. I think I need to play my tap land turn 1, even though I have a good 1-drop. Okay. Now I can Guide of Souls holding up a Galvanic Discharge. Hoping they don't have the cheap removal, and then next turn, 2 energy off the Amped Raptor means the Guide gets to attack in and get its trigger. Well, there's red, so there's the cheap removal. Yep, Wither and Bloom it is, sure. Just amp it up now. Into the Auxiliary next turn. Find a Conduit Goblin, I will cast that. What a hit. Alright. Well, that was a good turn. Because then the Conduit Goblin gives the Raptor haste. Blessed be thy Lord RNGesus. Molten Gatekeeper, perfect mana to get that out of the way, since it's a solid blocker for either of these. And then we Auxiliary and jam in. I guess since I'm about to play Auxiliary, the Gatekeeper's not that great of a blocker, but it's still a great mana efficient play here, and we just jam for 1,000,000. Wow, this is ridiculous. This is the polar opposite of our first couple games with this deck. This is actually insane. Just an unreasonable few turns there. Yeah, and there's no way our opponent comes back. They just scoop them up, and we are now 3-2. Turns a rocky start into at least a 50-50 run. We'll take those, but we'll also take it as far as we can. Still definitely playing it out as we head into game 6. And here we are now for game 6. We are on the draw on this one, but we do have a turn 1 Guide of Souls to run out to get immediately removal spelled, as you do. With this hand, because we have the 3 energy producing Inspired Inventor, I might sandbag the Guide of Souls. Because then if they don't have instant speed removal for it, if I play it on turn 4, I will have the 3 energy to just straight up attack with whatever I want and get the flying counters onto them. So I'm just going to sandbag and hold up Discharge and Thraben Charm and stuff for now. Ooh. If I don't draw a land, I don't get to Inventor and do my Guide of Souls things. Superconductor. All right. Let's let them have the energy first and then kill it. So if they want to spend 3 energy to deal 2 damage to me, they are more than welcome to do that. Okay, and they don't want to. So now we do get the inventor. Grab the energy. So I can get immediate Guide of Souls value, even if they have sorcery speed removal to kill it. Now I don't get immediate Guide of Souls value, potentially, because they can use the Bespoke Battle Wagon to tap the Inspired Inventor when I move to combat if they want. I think I still play it here. At least we get 1 life and 1 extra energy off it, and kind of force them to spend 2 energy just to tap down a 2/2 here. They did not. All right, so we get the guide value. Absolutely, we'll take that. They're going to get some extra energy off that battle wagon. Pyretic Rebirth. Kill the guide, but we still got a flyer out of it. 4 energy to activate the battle wagon to crew that thing for free. I guess if they tap Inventor, we attack with Gatekeeper. If they don't, then they have the energy to the crew on blocks here. Probably play Auxiliary over Glimpse. I mean, Glimpse means we can definitely fell the Godsire, but they don't have a 3-power creature till they crew Battle Wagon. That's 2 power. Yeah, no, Auxiliary's got to be better. This gives them a really easy turn, though. They just tap Inventor, take 3 instead of taking 5. Pretty simple. Yep. Fanged Flames, exile our 3/3 flyer. And they're going to tap Inventor again. Pre-combat this Glimpse. Aether Spike. Well, shoot. Alright. Tap Inventor, deal 3 again. Cyclops Superconductor has returned. Back up to 4 energy for the Battle Wagon taps. Let's see how much prowess you've got here. They have to be able to prowess this up to 6 toughness to keep it around. Feels unlikely. Alright, so Aether Spike it is. Very nice. Legion Leadership. That is a big one. Can move to combat if they don't tap Inventor, they're just dead. But they are going to tap Inventor. Do I Thraben Charm the Superconductor in response to them tapping Inventor? So that I can still hit them for 3 here? Probably, because if I run Gatekeeper into Superconductor, they do trade into each other. All right. No trade for the superconductor. We just jam for 3 still. 3 is enough damage to threaten lethal next turn. We double up with the leadership. Skittering Precursor. That one's just a chump block. And I could clear it out with a Johnny Fells here, which I think I'm gonna do. Put them down to 3. Cycling Eldrazi Ravager, digging for an out. There's a land, there's a charge bug, which gives them the energy they need to tap Inventor and then chump Gatekeeper. But Conduit Goblin can give our cat token haste and threaten lethal. So here's Conduit Goblin. And there's the concession from our opponent. We are now 4-2, a positive win rate, a positive record no matter what, and breaking even on gems at minimum. Excellent recovery as we head into round number 7. Here we are for round 7 on the draw with no plays till turn 4, basically. Like, we can glimpse just for spawn tokens, but no card draw. I think we have to mulligan this one. Well, this is a little better because the late game plays are better, but it's still just as low on playables. And also the mana's terrible. I think I still keep and hope it's like a great matchup for the Ral 5-drop. I don't think we can keep the double white 5-drop. Okay, well, so far so good on being a decent matchup for Ral in the Implicit Maze, but also so far so bad on mana. Ooh, Dreadmobile's terrifying. Gigantic, menacing threat. Wow. Sicko mode draws. At least we milled 3 white cards, if we can't find any white sources. At least those were decent, Glimpse the Impossible mills. Gatekeeper I'm sad to see. I really wanted them to play another 2 toughness or less creature here, ideally. Yikes. But I can kill the ram creature, or the rammed up creature for sure. That's all I do. Or I hope. Cross my fingers to finally find the white source. Even just a Gatekeeper Dreadmobile is a pretty bad time for me. Even if I clear out the germ. Alright, come on, Glimpse. Give me some good stuff. That's the white source. And the discharge is certainly not bad. Probably a discharge on the Gatekeeper. Makes the Dreadmobile bigger, but whatever. And then a shield countered up Rhino. Oh, I get to keep all 3 energy, which is huge. Because they have to sack it before I choose. Oh, wait, no, I don't, because it doesn't have a target anymore, so I don't get any energy. Never mind.
Alright, so the Rhino blocks the germ and kills it. Sticks around for later. Unless they just, like, crew the mobile and move the ram over to it. That'd be cute. Yikes. That's actually insane here. Because now they don't even have anything that dies to Ral in the implicit maze. They've killed the Rhino and hit for 5 on this one. Or kill the Rhino in the spawn, hit for 4. Well, Raptor better find something good, right? Which means we invent her first. Sure. Can't afford to keep Guide of Souls at this point. We need to kill Refurbished Familiar, or it will kill us in the sky with Cranial Ram. They force a chump double block here. God, this is insane. Yeah. Incredible deck, incredible curve from our opponent. Going to knock us out of this event. I think no matter how I played this one, this was the stone cold nuts here from Rakdos. I didn't need to double block because that didn't have menace, but it doesn't matter. We're so dead. Well, if they have no more creatures, I guess not. But as soon as they play one creature, we die to the Dreadmobile. Yeah, I forgot. I only needed to jump with one creature, so I could have one creature left on the board, but that doesn't change anything. One creature doesn't block a menace threat that hits me this turn. So then I die. All right. 4 and 3 it is. Still a good recovery from a rough start, and I think we just had a lot of really bad openers today. So super, super awkward mana for a deck that was even on both colors. We had many monocolored openers, so some rough variants for this deck. I still think the deck is pretty strong in general. The biggest thing against it is the lack of good 2-drop energy producing creatures. The curve could have certainly been a little bit lower. Have a couple more of those cards would have helped out quite a bit, but other than that, like, these big 5-drop sagas still played well. The 3-drops played a little awkward, but that's just because there's too many 3-drops and not enough 2-drops. I think that's really the only flaw here is the curve, and outside of that, just some rough variance for it, holding it back a little bit, but not too badly. I mean, 4 and 3 is not bad at all. Not a terrible place to wrap up the draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.